What is going on, everybody? For the good of all Cree.
For the good of all fairies. No, Cree. Sorry, Cree. For the good of all Cree. I do believe in fairies.
I do believe in fairies. I do believe in spooks.
That's the wrong one, though. We're not doing that one.
I know. Welcome in, everybody. We are finally back after a 75-week hiatus.
No, 2 weeks, dude. Come on.
2 weeks, I know. But we are back and better than ever with another Disney movie review. And whoa, Nelly, we got one for you this week. Let me tell you. Oh, yeah. Dan finally pulled. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say finally pulled a good one out of the hat. But no, if nothing else, he pulled a classic out of his hat. And we are going to be discussing the 1953 classic Peter Pan.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about obviously the movie, but we're also going to talk about its impact in the parks. We haven't really done that a ton because a lot of the movies that we've been reviewing lately have no impact on the parks. This one does. Oh, so we're going to talk about this one. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's some significant impact that has to do with the parks with this movie. And so we're going to discuss it. But before we get into the movie and before we discuss how it does impact these parks, and whether or not we like the impact or not, we'll go into all of that. Let's say hi to some chat real fast once we do some quick mousekeeping. Of course, we'll start with Dean at The Live Place with theliveplace.com. Be sure to check him out. He is family friendly. He has Disney and other genres as well. He is your TV guide of live streams. So if you're looking for a certain person, certain day of the week, certain type of stream, check out Dean. He's got them all over there. Of course, our partner channels, one of them is this guy right here, Disney Dan, who usually will go live from sporadically right now on Saturday nights with Disney Fiasco. I know there's some changes coming there. But, of course, he's here with me on Sundays for Disney Movie Review. Dan's a former cast member. So for those that don't know, he knows a lot about Disney. Loves Disney, is a fanatic as well. Please go check out his channel. You won't regret it. Dan was my inspiration to start live streaming all those years ago. He was my inspiration. So he is awesome.
And look where it's ended up now. You're doing more live streaming than anybody. Definitely more than me.
And then, of course, there's Steve's World. Steve is also a great partner channel and really kind of knocking it out of the park on Monday nights. He does just another Monday night on Monday nights. That's a lot of Monday nights. But he does, and he's really good at it. He's got a great following over there. So check out Steve's World as well. He's a fantastic channel. Our members, thank you to our members. I'm seeing members growing exponentially. It's been fantastic. Thank you for all your extra generosity and loyalty. You guys are amazing. You're what help us to be able to do the things we do. We're not able to do it without your generosity. So thank you to our members. And, of course, our mods who are in the chat are fantastic as well. And speaking of chat, let's say hi to a few people in the chat. I'm going to do the chat over here. The Josh Sings is here. Jeannie is here. 52573. Slink is in the house. Jack Santa Claus, Logan, Matt, welcome in. Brian's West Coast Disney Adventures, one of our partner channels. Members is here. Disney Dan, that's what I was looking at. He's in the chat. He's in the stream, and he is a partner channel. We also have in the house Brian K, one of our members, is here. Melissa Mouse Talk is here. Rob Fuzz is here. Melissa Mouse Talk, she must be new. Kenneth H, another member, is in the house. What's up, Kenneth? Good to see you. Cynthia Candy Mom, our first member. That's what she is. She's number one, always in our hearts. Christine Hickman. Kay Banowski, welcome in from Ohio. Kate Schuster, welcome in from New Jersey. We also have Sarah Bush here. Richard Scott is in the house. And Charles Martin. Hey, may I join the stream? This is my movie. Charles, we're going to have to talk to you about that, buddy. Usually we have to get all that stuff ahead of time. I'm sorry. We didn't know ahead. We can possibly see if we do another one down the road to get you in for sure. It just jumped on me, Dan. Hold on 1 second. I got to go back. I don't want to miss anybody.
We got to go back.
We got to go back. Paul Engel, another member and good friend, is here. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, my friend. That's a Lost reference, by the way, for those who don't know.
It is a Lost reference. That's our first reference of the day.
Yes. And I think we're up to date. All right, I got to close the door because the dog just opened it.
Who let the dog out? Woof,
woof. Open the door! Hold the door!
No, I was doing who let the dog out. Woof, woof, woof,
woof. Hold the door! Kelsey Elizabeth is in the house, another member. Matt Simba, too, a member. And one of our newest mods is here. And Henry Shore is here. Hi, Henry. Good to see you. All right, Daniel. So let's get this started. let's not give away the big news on how you feel about this movie just yet. We'll get there.
I hate this movie.
Yeah,
No.
of course it does. Not at all. But look, 1953.
Yes.
One of the originals movies in the Disney animated film series. I mean, there weren't too many that were before this film that were the big fourth or fifth.
This is the 14th Disney animated classic film.
Was there that many before this? I guess there were.
It was just after the wartime era, and it was just after Cinderella and Alice in Wonderland. It was literally
Okay.
Just
before Sleeping Beauty, right? Isn't she 1959?
Yep.
Right. So she's a few years down the road, right? So this is older than that. Set in the UK. Am I not correct?
This
is
is
the
set
United Kingdom.
Bloomsbury Lane in London. Yes.
There we go. And let me do a little bit of talking about the actual cast. The actual voice of Wendy was Catherine Beaumont. I say was, but I should say is, because Catherine is still alive today.
Unbelievable.
She's still alive today. The original voice of Wendy, who was also the voice of Alice. Did you know that?
Yep. Didn't know that.
Alice from Alice in Wonderland is still blessing our presence on this earth to this day. I think she was born in 1938. So she was definitely a teenager. Yes, in London, England, June 27th. She's still here. Yep. So that's a great thing to know. I think the young boy who played Peter Pan has passed. He died early.
Yeah.
He was 31 years old when he passed.
Yeah.
It's very sad. But let's talk a little bit about the movie, because those are the main two characters. Like you said, London, England. With the family, we have Wendy, John, and Pete. No, not Wendy, John, and Michael. I'm going to let you take over because you're the expert on this movie. Wendy, John, and Michael, Mom and Dad, and Nana.
George and Mary, Mom and Dad, and Nana. I think before we even get there, I think we firstly have to say this is the second time we've reviewed a film that has featured Tinkerbell. Obviously, we have reviewed the Tinkerbell movie, and that was actually with our friend Courtney Rainwaters.
Yes, we did.
Which was amazing. But we are now reviewing 1953's Peter Pan. But I think well, we need to go back and remember the first time we ever saw this film. What was our sort of growing up with this film before we even get to the film? Because I think that's where we really need to start.
Yeah.
So in my case, this for me was like Batman and Joker. This was, today's Iron Man and Thanos or whatever it is. Like as a child, this was always the thing. It was always two matchups that I used to, imagine myself as. It was either Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader and Peter Pan versus Captain Hook. And I would jump around my living room, pretending to be Peter Pan and just, letting my imagination go wild. That's literally what it was, my childhood. And then with this film, it actually has very sort of sentimental value to me. And I'll talk about it later in my actual review because it gets sort of very, very personal to me in a lot of ways. But I've literally grown up with this film from, since this is like my movie. So that's me.
For me, by the way, I have to say hi to Jack Ullman, who's here, and James Ryan is in the chat. My man James, there he is. It's simply one of my favorite Disney films. Hello to all. And if anybody knows James Ryan, he is a huge Tinkerbell fan. So that's definitely kind of gives it away for him for sure. Well, Dan, for me, I remember watching Peter Pan as a kid. It would come on TV all the time, or, it would come on sometimes on The Wonderful World of Disney back in the day. Always a fan of it. Always enjoyed it, especially as a kid. For me, I never really was the Peter Pan versus Captain Hook. I get what you're saying. I get that. But I always liked this film. But I liked it for different reasons than I think you liked it, which I'll get into as we get into the film a little bit. I remember watching it as a kid. Did obviously it came out in 1953, so neither one of us were born yet. My dad was a kid. My dad was 9. No, my dad was he was 9 when this came out. So
my dad wasn't even born. Yeah,
so Alex Kennett, I gotta say hi to Alex is here. Paul Eschenlob is here. I always say that wrong. Matt Simba 2 is in the house.
Matt.
Paul Engel, just in case, I'm going to say hi to my man Paul. I can't remember if I did or not. Sarah Bush is here as well. Cynthia Nana is a dog. She automatically beats 99% of the people in character because of adorableness. Well, it's funny, your side note, Melissa, her mother, she wanted to be called Nana as a grandmother. Yeah. And I was like, you want to be named after a dog? That was my reference. Don't ask. Correct Robotics. Welcome in. So go ahead, Dan. Let's talk a little bit about the movie because we've talked about our history to it, our connection to it.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about the people that played in the roles a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the movie.
Yeah. So it begins, like I said, in Bloomsbury Lane, London, and we get a little bit of a narration about the family, about Mary and George, the Mr. and Mrs. Darling, who are getting ready to go out for an event, and we get sort of our first sort of hint to Peter Pan while John and Michael are playing, like I would do when I was a child, Peter Pan versus Captain Hook, around their bedroom. And one of my favorite things, it's something very minor, something very sort of thing that was so satisfying, but also very frustrating. They're playing on the bed, and then when they jump off of, I think it may have been John's bed, Nana comes in, makes the bed, right, and then they both jump back on it and ruins the bed again. I just love that little sort of humor there.
Yes, we've all done. Who hasn't done that, right? For sure. Hey, Junior and Rachel, welcome in from the Diz Life. I was got to tell you guys, if you get a chance, go check out their latest video. They were at the Galactic Star Cruiser for a preview. They did a really nice preview of the Galactic Star Cruiser, so be sure to check them out. Somebody wants to put their link in the chat. That'd be great. They did a really nice job. June and Rachel both went. Be sure to check that video out. They did a really nice job. But I got to also say hi to Megan, who's here. I'm sorry, Dan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say hi to these folks as they come in. Candy Tink is here. Rob Fuzz is here. Rob, I don't know if I said hi to you early, buddy, but I'm my apologies. Nicole Sheldon's mom is also here, and I think we are finally up to date. So you're right, Dan. It's the little nuances that, as a kid, I never would have caught that.
No,
but you're right. As an adult,
as somebody who makes their bed every day, and then you just lie on it, and it just gets messy again. That's sort of. And Rob has to pick up the point. I messed up my bed today, and then it goes back to when Pete McDevitt was making fun of me about making my bed. So
you beat me to it. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, now it explains the fact that why Dan's bed's never made.
It makes perfect sense. And then you've got Wendy, who just almost fantasizes about Peter Pan, like she's met him before or something like that. Believes that he's real, and it's all gone to maybe they're just their imagination. And Mr. and Mrs. Darling, they're ready to go out. It's really funny how his shirt top is like the treasure map that is used for John and Michael's game, and he hides their gold cufflinks as buried treasure. I think it's just so clever. And it's just like, it's the perfect way to set up a film about children and childhood and not growing up. And then the big shocker, forget the snap in Avengers Infinity War, the biggest shock is that Wendy is moving out of the nursery. Everyone was gasping in that film. Wendy has to grow up. She has to, this is no snap. This is not half the universe being taken away with the Infinity Stones. This is Wendy leaving the nursery because she has to grow up. Super big deal. And they were like, no, not happening. She's like, this is the last time in the nursery. Then you've got Mr.
But
Darling.
Dad is really pushing the point of that. Yeah. Dad's the one who's really pushing the point that, this is it, last day.
That's
because they're being mischievous, that's what really kind of gets him over the edge to say, this is your last day and she's not happy about it. She's not ready to go that route yet. And obviously the boys aren't either.
No,
but that's the big deal.
Then Mr. Darling and Nana trip over each other, and then they all rush to see how the victim is doing, and they rush over to Nana over, Mr. Darling, and they were like, poor Nana, and then he throws her outside.
Outside she goes.
Yeah, outside she goes. I've got to say, if Nana was my pet, she'd be the perfect dog, hands down. It'd be amazing. But yeah,
I agree. So at this point, like you said, it's all about, and really that's the connotation of the entire film to an extent. It's all about whether or not we're growing. It's all about growing up to an extent. It really, really is. And then that's when we start to finally meet the main character. But we meet somebody before, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I watched this a week and a half ago when we were originally supposed to do this. So
I watched it 20 minutes ago. So
okay, so you're going to refresh my memory, and then I'll chime in on a lot of it. This is when we meet Tink before we meet Peter, correct?
They actually come together.
Okay.
Because they're on the rooftop, and then her light is sort of creating that sort of shadowy sort of figure of Peter Pan. And we get a sort of a hint why Peter Pan is going back to the nurseries, because he wants to listen to the stories. But also, Wendy has captured his shadow. Wendy somehow has caught a shadow. I don't know how that's possible. I think shadow lore is definitely something Disney needs to work on, because the shadow of Peter Pan is different to the shadows from Princess and the Frog, because lots of sorts of shadow sort of laws and things like that. But yeah, apparently you can catch a shadow and keep it in a box or something. I don't know. But yeah, so they get into the nursery. Tinkerbell, I think we can discuss the character of Tinkerbell already. She's not like she was in the Tinkerbell movie. She's very sassy in this movie. I don't know. She's very sassy. She's very, I don't know, quite moody, opinionated, jealous.
But there's a reason behind that too. Yep. She has her reason as to why she's moody, especially. It's more or less because of when she's around Wendy as the reason for her moodiness.
She's jealous. Yeah.
Very.
She's jealous.
Because Peter is really taken to Wendy. Not so much in that way, just in a way, in my opinion, of being interested in her and who she is and what she's about. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm seeing it wrong, though.
Yep. So she gets stuck in a drawer. And Peter Pan is trying to track down the shadow, finds the shadow, tries to stick it on with soap. But obviously soap doesn't work. We all know that soap doesn't work to stick the shadow to the bottom of his heels. And Wendy wakes up, and she's like, she does that typical stereotypical during those times where, you know, girls are fantasizing over this boy and whatever, and she doesn't stop talking. And she tries to sew the shadow to his feet. Now, I have a question here. He tries to sew his shadow to his feet. Now, is she sewing the shadow to his shoes or to his feet? Because if it was to his feet, he would be in agonizing pain. If it was to his shoes, why doesn't he take his shoes off, but he'll still create a shadow? What is the logic there?
Well, it's a animated film from 1953. Let's not get too...
It's something out
Let's not go too deep into the psychology of this film. I think we're maybe going a little far.
It's just something I think about as an adult, person now. Obviously, I didn't think about it as a child. I think it's just quite interesting to note that it could be a lot more gruesome than, maybe it is intended to be. And, Wendy's just like, this is my last night in the nursery. And Peter was like, you need to come with me to Neverland so you never grow up, so you can keep telling us stories. So, yeah, sounds great. And then all the other boys wake up and, they're all starting to think about, let's go on this big adventure.
Well, I think part of it, too, is there is an actual character arc to Peter Pan. Because, to be honest with you, early on, you're exactly right. He wants her to stay in the nursery to hear the stories. He's kind of full of himself. He's really kind of selfish. I'm sorry to say it. That's how I see him. He really is in a lot of ways. But he's immature because he doesn't want to grow up.
He's a child.
So he is a child, and he wants to continue to be so. So I think there is some maturity that comes along as the movie goes on. A little bit, not a lot. I don't think he matures that much, but there is some that happens. And it's funny James said that. He says there's major division in his house. He adores Tink. Kelly thinks her a villain. We avoid talking about it. James, I'm on Kelly's side. I'm sorry. She tries to kill Wendy for crying out loud.
Only because of jealousy.
Oh, gee, is that all? I mean, we all try to kill people for jealousy, don't we?
Look.
Of course she's a villain to an extent. I mean, that's...
Tinkerbell's jealousy towards Wendy is like the same as like the film Mean Girls. And the girls were mean
Nobody's
towards
trying to kill
character. Well, destroying her reputation at school. I mean, that's pretty bad.
At school, you'll get past it.
I don't know. I don't go to an American high school. I heard it's a lot worse. I don't know.
Douglas Bailey, welcome in. Good to see you.
And then we get to, as Walt and I talk about, every time we do like one of these big movies, the commercial, montage. When you watch a Disney commercial, you see those clips like the Beauty and the Beast in the gold ballroom. You get Ariel like sitting up. You get Toy Story, Buzz and Woody flying through the air. Like that stereotypical Disney scene moment from the commercials. We get Peter Pan at the window, he goes to Neverland or off we go, all that kind of stuff. And they do the song
You Can Fly.
You Can Fly. They get, they use Tinkerbell to use the pixie dust. And they fly through London. Now this scene is actually really, really special because it's the first time we've done this on the show. I've got a little bit of a show and tell.
Oh! Dan never disappoints.
I know. I have here. Okay, you can get these online. All right, it's got a certificate of authenticity, so it actually is legit. This is one of the reels right here of Peter Pan flying over on the clouds.
Really?
You can't really see it very well.
No, that's okay. That's fantastic. How
And
about?
you
Oh
can
yeah,
see-
I can see
There
it.
you go.
I can see it. Can you guys see it in the chat?
There you go. I'll try and.
No,
Oh,
I saw it. That was
there you go. You can kind of
from
make
the
it out.
original movie.
That's it.
How about that?
It's still in sort of the plastic to keep it clean. This is legit.
That's awesome.
Yep. So it's kind of a really sort of sentimental part to me. So just to have that little bit of and you can see like the reel because it sort of cuts off. It's kind of cool.
That's part of what fell to the cutting room floor from what they edited from the movie.
There you go. There you go. I don't know.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
That is awesome.
There you go.
So
but yeah, they're flying through London. You can do the whole you can fly, and off to Neverland we go.
which is, by the way, for those that don't know where Neverland is, it's second star to the right.
Straight on till morning.
Yeah. I've gotten lost several times. I usually go to the third star. That's
I just go. You're going to the Death Star, mate. You need to go to the second star. That's no moon. It's a space station. It's too big to be a space station. No, we've got to move on.
Around. I'm trying to ship around. I think you're right. Now
we've done Lost, Star Wars. What else have we done today already?
Oh, a nod to Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. There you go.
All right, so off to Neverland we go. And this is when the not so fun time starts for Wendy. It seems like every other second she's in peril for the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And this is where we finally meet. Hey, Sam, welcome in, Disney Master.
Hey.
You hope you're doing well. Good to have him here. And Brian.
No.
We'll see. You don't know that. It might not be.
How do you know?
Yeah. I wonder what gives it away. Anyway, so Neverland we go. And this is where we meet a slew of different characters throughout the rest of the movie. But of course, the one person we do finally meet is the big bad. And still to this day, Daniel, one of the most recognizable and iconic villains.
Yeah.
Disney has a way of really knocking it out of the park when it comes to their villains. They really do. There are forgettable villains out there in this world. Most of Disney's animated villains, people do not forget. They just don't. You know, I mean, seriously, you talk about the Evil Queen, Maleficent, Cruella, Captain Hook, and he may be at the top of the list. And for some people, for sure, he is a very recognizable. They know who he is right away. Yeah. And of course, there's Shmi and their entire group of pirates who do not like Peter Pan.
Now, this is a little fun fact that it has become tradition that if you go to a show about Peter Pan, if you watch any movie with Peter Pan in it, Captain Hook is always the same actor as Mr. Darling. So if you watch any of the Peter Pan films, the animated films, go to any show about Peter Pan, Mr. Darling and Captain Hook is always played by the same actor.
And I think that's done on purpose.
It is.
Because I think in a lot of ways there's an abstract correlation between the father and Captain Hook. He wants her out of the nursery. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. He wants her to grow up. Captain Hook is a grown-up. They don't like grown-ups. I think there's an on-purpose correlation between the two of them. I really, really do. I'm sure it's been brought up a billion times. Maybe it hasn't.
Yeah. It's almost, I think it is. Yeah, it's almost like Mr. Darling's personification of his personality. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why they purposely make that correlation, is because I think in the kids' mind, that's who Captain Hook is to them. It's their dad. He's the bad guy right now. He's the adult. He wants them to grow up and such and such. And Peter too. Is Peter Pan, and that's the funny thing. We kind of I'll go into this. Was Peter Pan real, or did Wendy, Michael, and John, did they dream it? Did they imagine all of it? And that's why they have the correlation of their dad as Captain Hook, as the bad guy, because in their dream, they're using their dad as the bad guy here. Did all this really happen, or was it all a dream? Was it all an imagination?
Of course it happened. You can go to Neverland on a ride. Of course it happened.
No, I'm just going in depth.
Don't crush my dreams.
But there we are. I mean, that's we meet the Lost Boys, we meet Pocahontas, we meet what's her name? I can't think of it. Tiger Lily, and of course the Lost Boys. Which I gotta say, Dan, I hate to say it, I've never been a big fan of the Lost Boys. They're kind of irritating to me. They get on my nerves a little bit.
Yeah.
What's up, Matt? Welcome in. Santa Claus Logan, by the way. Just so. Well, let's get into this a little bit. Talk about all the stuff that happens in Neverland. Yeah.
So they arrive in Neverland, and we immediately get straight into one of my favorite songs called "A Pirate's Life." A pirate's life is a wonderful life. Do 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 do. And you get introduction to Mr. Smee. He's doing a wet shave on Captain Hook, and then he puts a towel around his face, and then the dove sits and starts shaving the dove, and then he thinks that he's decapitated Captain Hook's head, and then they sort of have a little sort of tumble, and then it looks like his head has been chopped off, and the chair is caught wedged in between him and his body. It's just really funny. We also get introduced to how ruthless Captain Hook can be. He literally was listening to a guy playing the the musical instrument, the homography. There you go. That's a word I've made up for the day. And just shoots him straight, out of the crow's nest. And so we know he's a ruthless killer. He is.
He's a bad guy.
He is a bad guy.
But they portray him as kind of a goof in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of physical comedy behind him. But he is a bad guy.
He is a bad guy.
I agree. Mr. Fulton Moran's, welcome in. Good to see you. Also going to say hi to Rose the Wolf Girl. Welcome in. Good to have both of you here.
I am bad guy. That doesn't make me bad guy. No, there we go. That's a Wreck-It Ralph reference.
That's a Wreck-It Ralph, yeah.
There you go. So they notice Peter Pan up in the clouds with Wendy, John, and Michael, and they set their cannons ready to go, and they start firing, those cannonballs up to Peter Pan. And Peter Pan's like, "Hey, you need to get out of here, Wendy." Wendy, John, and Michael go with Tinkerbell and try and escape, but Tinkerbell, she's not happy that Wendy's come along with Peter Pan, and sort of flies off, rallies the Lost Boys, sets them up with their really dangerous slingshots, and starts firing at Wendy Bird. It's a Wendy Bird.
Well, that's my point behind Tinkerbell. At every turn, she's doing what she can to actually, I hate to say it, James, I know James Ryan's a big fan, to actually harm Wendy. It's one thing to make her feel bad and stuff like that. She's literally out to harm her. And that's why I see Kelly's point behind that. And she does it several times. It's not just once or twice. So that's the correlation there. But you're right. I mean, he's got to fight Captain Hook, and it kind of leaves her, Wendy, and the boys in the hands of Tink. And Tink's going to kind of take advantage of that.
Yep. And then once Wendy falls out of the sky, Peter Pan swoops down, catches her, and then, finds out who was the culprit. And he finds out that it was Tinkerbell, and he's banished forever. All right, just maybe a week. And then,
Anna Isabel, welcome in.
And there you go.
But rightfully so. I mean, I think he's got a good point there. And then it just happens throughout the film. But this whole time, Captain Hook is trying to find ways, again, his arch nemesis, Peter Pan. And now he knows that Wendy, Michael, and John are there with Peter Pan. And he starts to realize how Peter has a liking to Wendy in a certain way. And he's going to use that to his advantage, too.
So the Lost Boys and John and Michael start following the leader, get captured by Indians. And by the way, I think we need to say it because it is kind of important. There is actually a disclaimer before the start of this movie about, what is politically correct today. And obviously the portrayal of cultures and people today is obviously very different to what they interpreted back in the 1950s. So you've just got to take it as it is, and just remember that this is not in any way a representation of those people today. So you've just got to take it as it is.
Say hi to Charlie and Stacey real fast at Disney.
The Phoenicians, it's Charlie and Stacey.
Yes, and the one and only Donna Jaworski. Hey, Donna, hope you're feeling better. Getting off on the right foot today. Get it?
Wow. Wow.
She knows I'm kidding. Donna, I hope you're doing well here. I hope the foot's healing. Hope you're up and about, and we miss seeing you, and hopefully everything's going well. Sorry about that, Dan. I didn't mean to interrupt. Jonathan Chung's here, too. I guess.
Hey, Jonathan Chung.
Hey. What's up, buddy?
So they get captured by Indians trying to find out where's Tiger Lily, and Tiger Lily has been taken by Captain Hook to probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, Skull Rock. Now, what's cool, which is a bit of a side note here, at Disneyland Paris, you could actually go to Skull Rock, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that. And it's not Skull Island, because if it was Skull Island, that's where King Kong would. Never mind.
Oh yeah, you don't want to go to Skull Island, but no, they actually go to Skull Rock. There's like a whole. It looks exactly like Skull Rock. It's pretty cool. Now, so you get Captain Hook laying a trap with Tiger Lily drowning, while Mr. Smee is setting up everything, being his goofball self, and they're waiting for Peter Pan. They swoop in. And he starts to do a little bit of trickery on Captain Hook and Mr. Smee. And he's doing some little spirit things, like ghostly things. And one of my favorite things is that Peter Pan is impersonating Captain Hook and trying to tell Mr. Smee, you can send Tiger Lily back to her people. And Captain Hook's like, what do you think you're doing? Send her back. Oh no, you got to send her back. What are you doing? I said nothing of the sort, but back you go. And they just go backwards and forth. And then finally, Captain Hook finds that Peter is actually doing his voice. And then a big tussle happens.
Yes, for sure. And you know who we haven't talked about at all? The one thing in this world that scares Captain Hook more than anything.
Oh,
We haven't
his
talked about
hand.
the
No.
big bad. We haven't talked about TikTok at all. And lucky for actually the good thing for Captain Hook, which actually helps to keep him alive, is the fact that TikTok swallowed a clock.
Alarm clock.
You can hear it go tick tock, tick tock. So Captain Hook can hear him coming. Otherwise, he probably would have gotten him a long time ago. K Atwood, welcome in. I love TikTok in this, by the way. I love that character. He is I don't even know if he's really a bad guy. I mean, if Peter Pan were to fall in the water, he probably would eat him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just hungry.
Yeah. But he really is hungry for Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Because Captain Hook tried to kill him.
That is true. That's true. And then it didn't. And then, by the way, this doesn't lead into Hook, where Captain Hook actually stuffs the crocodile and puts a clock in his mouth.
Right.
But yeah, that's something completely different. But yes, TikTok is there, and TikTok is the only TikTok that actually is relevant and only the coolest TikTok that has ever been created. The OG TikTok, not the application.
Right, exactly. And Melissa makes a good point. He had a taste of him, so he wants the rest. That's true. Isn't that how Captain Hook lost his hand?
Yes.
Right?
Did you know there was like this weird fan theory that the hand that Captain Hook lost ended up being the hand in the Addams Family?
Okay. I don't really know how that happened.
Because you know Captain Hook can play the piano.
Right.
And apparently that the hand from the Addams Family was the hand that trained the Frankenstein creature for the Addams Family to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently. That's just a complete fan theory.
That's
don't get me. Do not get me started on Baymax's hand. You know, we lost it in Big Hero 6 and how that became Iron Man's Infinity Gauntlet. Just don't get me started.
Okay. Timothy Rainwater's welcome in. Good to see Timothy.
Hey, Timothy Rainwater.
By the way. All right. So, like you said, Tiger Lily does get away ultimately, but Wendy gets captured and she's put on the plank. Isn't she going to walk the plank?
Well, we are jumping a bit.
All right, go ahead. Go back.
So they save Tiger Lily from Skull Rock. They go back to the Indian camp and they have a little sort of, celebration. Tinkerbell gets captured by Mr. Smee. And then Tinkerbell gives away the location of Peter Pan's base. And then Tinkerbell gets locked up. Captain Hook goes to Hangman's Tree, sends down a present, which is actually a bomb. And then Wendy gets captured by Captain Hook and his crew with the rest of the Lost Boys, John and Michael. So Peter Pan is there after a big falling out with Wendy because she wants to go home. And then we get Wendy and the Lost Boys on the plank and on the ship, and Peter Pan gets blown up at Hangman's Tree while being saved by an escaped Tinkerbell while trying to take away the present from Peter Pan. There you go. I summarized.
Everybody get all that?
30 minutes in the space of 30 seconds.
Why does Wendy want to go home at this point?
She misses her mother.
Yes.
She misses the family. Well, she doesn't miss her father, but she misses her mother.
Yeah, and she's also not happy with the fact that this fairy has been trying to murder her for the last half an hour of the film.
Yeah. She is like Jigsaw from Saw. I want to play a game.
There's another reference for sure.
This one's called The Hangman's Tree Bomb. You have a present, and in 30 seconds, it's going to blow up the tree.
Oh, my God. That is so funny. Oh, my gosh. But anyway, so yes, Wendy is captured. All the Lost Boys and everybody is captured. And, well, Peter Pan's got to save the day.
Yep. Peter Pan escapes with Tinkerbell. Says that, Tinkerbell means everything to him. They escape. Tinkerbell and Peter Pan escape the Hangman's Tree, fly over to Captain Hook's ship, Doesn't have a boat, it's a ship. Wendy jumps off the plank. No splash, Captain. You want to splash, Mr. Stark? And here is a splash. And he throws the guy off. And Peter Pan, interrupts, saying, it's on. Let's go. Let's go for a round. They start having a little skirmish. I love how Michael puts a cannonball inside his teddy bear and hits the guy with his teddy bear that has that cannonball inside. It's a full-on skirmish on the Jolly Roger, and it all goes down. Peter Pan and Captain Hook end up on the mast, on the top of the where the sails are, and then somehow Peter Pan agrees you're not going to use your flying. It's just going to be hand-to-hand combat, and he grabs the flag, wraps up Captain Hook, and then admits he's a codfish, tries to get a little bit of a revenge.
Codfish!
Goes for the hook, misses, and TikTok is waiting.
And
He's probably and Captain Hook is probably thinking at that point, oh no, the no thing from TikTok. Yeah. There you go. He's gonna get eaten by a crocodile, and he gets chased off with Smee and all the other pirates in a little longboat.
Set.
And there you go.
Yep. By the way, I guess I had a Richard the Legend.
What up, Johns?
All right, because I'm trying to be nice to Brian today, I'm going to read his theory. How about this theory? The ticking clock represents the time that's always foiling Mr. Darling. He's running late. He's running out of time with his kids, as kids, and such and such. I see that theory. I understand that. I mean, it makes sense. I get it. Time is always trying to beat him. And look, everybody says it all the time. If there's one undefeated thing in this world, it's time. Time never loses.
I mean,
we always lose the time.
I mean, that makes more sense than my theory of Captain Hook's hand in the Addams Family. I mean, yeah. But then, Peter Pan, now captain of the Jolly Roger, tells Tinkerbell to use all her pixie dust on the ship, flies back to London. And then we get John and Michael in bed. Wendy's, kind of half asleep. The parents, George and Mary Darling come back from their little event, whatever it was in London. There's a nice little reunion. And Mary brings over George to the window with Wendy, and they see the ship come across the sky. And George sort of has that moment that he remembers that ship from when he was a child and remembers that childhood feeling. And that's how the story ends.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into, we'll give our review and our grade in just a minute. Folks, I don't want you to put it in just yet. A couple things I want to talk about when it comes to Peter Pan. Peter Pan to me reminds me of Spider-Man, Batman, things like that. They have redone Peter Pan over and over and over in the movies, different iterations of it. One with Robin Williams. There was one with Hugh Jackman. There's different versions of Peter Pan that have come out in live action, animated over the years. They've done this a billion times. Some good, some not so good. You name it, they're out there. This is something that doesn't get old with folks. When these movies are made, people go and watch them. Good or bad, they do. Wouldn't you agree, Dan, to a point? They're
100%.
doing this.
This is Disney's superhero. This is, we're not talking about Marvel, we're not talking about Star Wars, we're not talking about Pixar. Apart from like Prince Charmings and stuff, whatever, this is what, the first real Disney superhero that they ever had.
Yeah, I mean, they redo this all the time. There's always another new Peter Pan. Every 5 to 6 years, you'll see another iteration of Pan come out.
Well, there's Peter Pan and Wendy coming out on Disney Plus.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They really do. They really, really do. They, of all the animated films that they've done in the past, we've had a couple remakes of Cinderella and stuff like that. But Peter Pan is the one that's redone the most. It really is. And the other thing too, in the parks.
Yeah, we have to talk about the parks.
Very, very, very highly represented in the parks. You have the cavalcade with Tink. You have Peter Pan's flight at Magic Kingdom. Captain Hook and Peter Pan and TikTok are out for the Topiary Easter and Flower and Garden Festival.
Festival of Fantasy Floats. And we forget the most iconic Tinkerbell moment, her flying from Cinderella Castle.
Tink comes down in during the shows at Cinderella Castle. Representation for this movie is not lacking in any of the parks.
Mickey's PhilharMagic, it's everywhere.
It really, really is. And I'll be honest with you, one of the best meet and greets that you'll get at any of the parks is Captain Hook and Mr. Schmee.
Yeah,
people love to meet We get excited to see Captain Hook and Mr. Schmee, Melissa and I. We love it. We absolutely love it. And when you can see Peter and Wendy too, fantastic. They're in the parade. They're in the cavalcade as well. You get to see them. Peter Pan's on one of the cavalcades at Magic Kingdom. I think it's the one with Goofy, but he's on one of them. Wendy is in the Christmas time parade. She's in the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Time parade. She's there. Representation is not lacking for this. We've talked about ones in the past, haven't we, Dan, where the representation is just nowhere to be found?
Yeah.
This isn't one of those cases, which is, I think, a very good thing.
And it just shows how beloved this movie is.
So popular. It is. It really, really is. 100%. Yeah, there you go. Matt says it too. Fantasy in the Sky starts with Second Star to the Right. Exactly. PhilharMagic. One of the scenes in PhilharMagic is Peter Pan. It's everywhere. Look, I love the fact that they do not leave this film, that's such a beloved film, out. It has to be remembered, and it is all the time, which I think is great.
Absolutely.
But all right, so let's get to that point now where we're going to do our review, our grades. We want you guys in the chat to also give your grades. We do grades like this. We give A+ all the way down to Fs. We've given both. Now, I haven't given an A+ yet. Dan has given an A+, but we both have given Fs.
Yes.
So it is possible to get an F on this show. I've given 2. I think Dan's given 1. 1 for Dan, 2 for me. So
I've given 1 A+.
Yes, 1 A+, and I haven't given an A+ yet. But what I want you guys to do, you can put why you've given it a grade of an A or an A+ or a B or a D, whatever you give it. Let us know why, or just give us a letter grade. That's fine too. Dan, I want to start with you, with your letter grade. Talk to me about the film, what it means to you, obviously, why your grade and your review.
I think this probably will be the most emotional review that you're probably going to get from me in this whole series that we're ever going to do. So I already spoke at the start of the stream how, as a child, I love this film. And, I used to think about, the film, well, I used to watch it all the time, as a child, I, used to play with swords and, do the whole Captain Hook versus Peter Pan thing. But for the reason why I really love this film is not for that reason. It's for other sort of special reasons. Now, J.M. Barrie, the person who wrote the book, Peter Pan, before it was, given to Disney for it to be made, he had sold the rights to Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, which is a children's hospital. And is one of the world's most famous and world-leading hospitals for children who are suffering from, very serious illnesses. And then when I was about 9 years old, my best friend, he was admitted to Great Ormond Street Hospital with cancer. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of that year, going to Great Ormond Street Hospital. And when you go to Great Ormond Street Hospital, there's, pictures of Peter Pan all over the walls and Tinkerbell and all that kind of stuff. And there's a real strong personal connection to Peter Pan because obviously J.M. Barrie connects, that to, and he believes that everything that Peter Pan ever does, its contributions will be dedicated to Great Ormond Street Hospital. And then my best friend, he gets, he gets cured of cancer, which is unbelievable. It's amazing. And it kind of still wants me to support the hospital ever since. And that's kind of why I have that sort of strong connection to Peter Pan, because it relates to my best friend who, was admitted to this hospital that was dedicated.
Right.
And And that's kind of the reason why it's special to me. You know, this film is not a perfect film. This is not Citizen Kane. This is not anything like that. It's not good. It's not even the best animated movie of all time. But it is apart from one other film, which is not a Disney film, it is my favorite movie of all time. It has everything. You know, story, villain, sound, music. You know, just everything about it is a perfect film for me personally. By the way, if you wanted to know what the other favorite film that I have of all time is, Gladiator, but we're not talking about that. But still, that's my other favorite movie of all time. But Peter Pan is
very similar to Peter Pan. Very similar.
So different. So similar in every way. Two very childlike films. But it is my favorite movie of all time. I think if you knew me, I think you already knew what grade I was going to give this. You know, before we even started the stream, I knew what I was going to give it before I even put it in the box when we chose it. It's an A plus from me. It is hands down an A plus. It is a perfect film for me. Yeah, that's my review of Peter Pan.
That's fantastic. Well, before we get, we're going to do the chat next, and then I'll give my review, and we'll do the pulling out of the box here in just a second. Let's see. We're going to start with Dan. I'm going to run them down. I'm going to have Dan read them. But I'm going to start with, I saw Cynthia.
Candy Mom says A.
All right.
And then we'll move down to Donald Jaworski gives an A minus.
Yeah.
Simba 2 gives an A. This and Pinocchio are my favorites of the classics. Is Simba 2. Candy Tink says A plus because I like Tink, even though she is a jealous and lovable fairy, and the movie is a classic. Brian says I'll give it a B plus for the movie as a whole and a D for that villainous Tinkerbell. Cow gives it a B plus. Douglas Bailey gives it a B plus. I'm giving it an A plus. I love Disney. I love Peter Pan, Nana, TikTok, and Tinkerbell is my favorite. Are my favorite characters, as well as the music and the artwork is very well done. James Ryan, a Disney classic, brilliantly animated that has stood the test of time. A plus. I think I can't agree anymore with that. It has stood the test of time. Melissa says I have a strong attachment to this film because Mason loved it when he was little. An A minus. James Ryan says Kelly gives it an A plus as well. She is yelling down the hall that anyone with a different grade that she will fight them. P.S. I am just a messenger. Alex Connett says B. The characters are memorable, though few have a true story arc. The animation is beautiful. The voice acting is strong. It is also interesting to look into the mind of the 50s thinking. I love this film. Where are we? Jonathan Chong.
Your story you told of the connection for you was very wonderful, by the way.
Thank you. We got Jonathan Chong gives it a B plus. Leanne Sherbeck, good to see Leanne. She gives it a B plus as well. And Will Lovins gives it an A plus, but part of that is because of its contribution to a fantastic ride, and the original story supported a true amazing hospital. I think I got everybody.
Yep, that's everybody. I want to say hi to Courtney, by the way. Courtney.
Hey, Courtney.
All right, so for me, here's the thing. It's a classic. Absolute classic is Peter Pan. The animation's wonderful. The story's very, very good. I love the story as well. But for me, it wasn't my thing as a kid. I just wasn't that enamored with it. My favorite character is the villain. It's Captain Hook. I couldn't get on. I didn't like Peter Pan. I thought he was too cocky for me. I thought he was a little too self-indulged in all ways. I didn't like Tinkerbell because of what she was trying to do to Wendy as a kid. But I still love this film. I think it's great. But TikTok, Mr. Smee, Captain Hook, they're my favorites. And I'm not even a villains guy. I like the good guys. But I do love this film. It stands the test of time. It is very much something that's represented really well in the parks, and as well it should be. It is a classic. It's one of those that when you think of Disney, you think of Peter Pan, whether it be Cinderella, whether it be this one or that one. Peter Pan's right there. Welcome in, Victor, by the way. Good to have you here. For me, I'm going to give it a B plus. I really enjoy this film. I'm not as enamored with the heroes as I probably should be, but I do love this film. Would I watch it if it's on TV? Of course I would. Of course, I'm going to watch it. The voice acting is amazing. The story is great. The animation is wonderful. The songs are classic songs that we all know and love. Absolutely, this is a great film. B plus for me. Bordering on an A for sure. I could give it an A, and I wouldn't lose sleep over it. But I'll go B plus. But I love this film. It is great. It's not my favorite Disney animated film of all time, but it's definitely in the top 10 for me. There are a few I like above it for sure, but it definitely ranks high for me.
Nice, very nice. It's nice to know that everybody has such strong feelings of this film.
Are you kidding me, dude? I can't even imagine it. Look, when they got rid of Snow White's Scary Adventures at Magic Kingdom, I almost picketed the place. I would be the exact same way. If they ever got rid of Peter Pan's flight at Magic Kingdom, there's going to be riots in the streets. There was almost riots in the streets when they got rid of Snow White. I was really furious about that.
We haven't even mentioned the queue.
The queue, well, it used to be just a normal queue. Now that they've redone it, it's one of the best things out there. It's fantastic. I love
amazing.
It.
It's amazing.
Victor said
anyway,
B, by the way, as well. What about the Return to Neverland? Did you like Return to Neverland, Dan? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not Peter Pan.
It's not Peter Pan. I mean, if you wanted a good Peter Pan sequel, you just watch Hook. Hands down. Like, Hook is fantastic. That was, again, a childhood film, but like, if you want to talk about a good Peter Pan live action film, Hook is fantastic. Anything with Robin Williams is amazing. So, but that will be a film for another time. But
I agree.
But yeah.
And James, I really hope you're right. I hope Snow White's Scary Adventures and Peter Pan are always enshrined at Disney. I agree. I hope they stay, and I hope Mr. Toad's Wild Ride stays too. Yep. Even though you die and go to hell.
On the way to nowhere in particular.
I don't really want it to go anywhere. All right. Well, we have come to that moment. This is the big moment, guys. This is it. This is when we finally do.
I'm going to do that every time from now on. I'm just going to go. Right. It is now time to choose our next movie for next week.
Marc, don't forget the cartoon series, Jake.
No thanks.
I have Jake and the Neverland Pirates. It's true. Okay.
It is now time to choose our next film. It will be on my channel next week. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please feel free to do so. And by the way, this is like our 40-something-ish review. Like, if you want to see all the reviews we've done, the playlist is on my channel. So if you want to see all the reviews we've done some really crazy ones like the Lizzie McGuire film. We've done Beauty and the Beast. We've done Star Wars. We've done Marvel. We've done Muppets. We've done The Black Hole. We've done everything. But if you want to check out the whole playlist we've done, it's on my channel. So please feel free to come check it out.
Speaking of which, guys, there's a lot of new folks in here right now. Dan, as a personal favor to me, go check out Dan's channel. Dan is a former cast member. He has all of the live streams that we've done for any movie reviews that we've done. Like Dan said, we've done over 40 something. This is season 2 for us of doing this. Dan's a great guy. He's been such a supporter of me and so many other YouTubers. He really is one of the OGs of live streamers in this community that I think doesn't get his just dues that he should. Like I said, Dan was doing live stream before I was doing live stream. He was my inspiration to live stream. He's a former cast member. He's a wonderful person. I promise you'll like his content. I'm sure he'll be doing more of it down the road. He is from the UK, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for him. But be sure to check out his channel. I'm sorry, Dan. I just had to say.
No, thank you. It's just nice to see, friends. It's nice to see people here, that I cherish, and new friends as well. And I like we've always said, we love doing these. We really enjoy doing our Disney movie reviews.
And there's his right there. And Victor's asking for it. Thank you. Thank you, Victor.
Right. It is now time to choose. By the way, yes, it is out of a Tyrion Lannister Funko Pop box. I needed a box. I didn't have a spare Disney one. Right, here we go. On my channel next week. Here we go.
Dan's channel next week, guys. Dan's channel next Sunday, 6 p.m. And please pull something good. I don't think we'll get lucky twice. He pulled Peter Pan. I don't know if we'll get another one.
What was on the one last week? Holes?
Holes was the last one we did.
We're going further back.
Further back?
And actually, it's quite weird because we were literally just talking about it. We're watching Snow White.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And it's not rigged in any way. It's, this is full legit random. Next week on my channel, we're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So guys, go out and watch it. Go out this week, watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, come back and review it with us next week on my channel.
Yeah, and that's the key. Dan says it right there, and he nailed it right on the head. We want you guys to watch these films and be a part of this. The whole point is we want to hear your opinions in the chat. When we're reviewing films, sometimes we get really in depth, and sometimes we kind of take it where we just kind of swipe by it with a fine, with one big brush stroke, kind of like we did today. We didn't go too in depth with Peter Pan, but not that it really needed to. But please go out and watch these. If you've never watched it, we've had so many people that have said, nope, never saw it before. Glad I watched it. Sometimes, nope, never saw it before. Never watch it again. We've said that. This has been a ton of fun. We do these and we love them. We're trying to get back on a more regular schedule. I know we've had some things come up, but we're going to do our best to be more regular with this. And we love you guys being here and we enjoy doing these. Dan's my brother, figuratively and literally almost, it seems. Yeah. We enjoy doing this for sure.
Can I just say, Kenneth H says, can you have a favorite dwarf discussion? Well, we already know the answer to that. It's Hungary. Oh no, Hungary is not a dwarf, but I'm always hungry. I'm like the 8th dwarf.
Maybe we will. We'll talk about the dwarfs. Look, we'll talk about that next week because we'll talk about it. Maybe our favorite dwarfs. We'll talk about its connection to the parks as well.
And to Disney history, because let's be honest, and to cinema.
Yeah,
in the world of cinema. So
yeah, this is a big one for him.
This is a big movie.
This is a big one.
This is a big one.
Rightly, and whoop, yeah, we're gonna have a good one next week for sure. But there you go, gang. Again, real fast. Let's just do some quick because it's midnight for Dan over in the UK. Oh, yeah. Dean at the Live Place. Check him out at theliveplace.com for family-friendly streams. Steve's World and Disney Dan are our partner channels. Links, please, in the chat. Mods for these two guys. I'd appreciate it. Members, thank you for all you do. Our members are fantastic. Another member stream will be coming up in March. So if you'd like to become a member, there's a join button right there. We do have different tiers. Membership does have its privileges with buttons, postcards, t-shirts, live streams, things of that nature. So check us out for that if you'd like to help support the channel. And other than that, I think that's it. Of course, Magic of the Mouse Radio. Check out 24/7 Disney Music. And Marc Younger, our realtor. If you're looking to move into the Orlando or Florida area, Marc's a great realtor who will help you find that forever home for sure. Dan, any last words, buddy, before we head out? Hi, Matt, by the way.
No, since I said I was the 8th hungry dwarf, I'm now hungry again. So I need to go to bed because I've got work and off to work we go tomorrow.
Me too. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work.
We go.
Our first reference of the movie we're doing next week.
I know. We've gone the full round with movie references this week. Game of Thrones, Lost,
everything.
Wreck-It Ralph,
Gladiator. You mentioned Gladiator.
Maximus Decimus Meridius. No, we can't. You know what we should do? I know we're trying to wrap up, but once we get through all of these. We should just add every other film ever created into parks.
Wow, this is going on until I'm dead. Hopefully that's way down the road. I'm not ready. Stepmother issues. Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
All right, gang. Well, thank you all for being here. Curtis Mitchell, by the way. Hi, Curtis. I just saw Curtis.
Hi, bye.
Yes, hi and bye, unfortunately. But all right, gang. Hope you all have a great week for the good of all Cree.
For the good of all Cree.
Take care of yourselves and each other, everybody. We'll talk to you all soon.
See you later.
Bye.